In the year 500 BC, Greek philosopher Heraclitus made the statement, "The only constant in the universe is change." True then, true now. The ability to drive change might be the greatest competitive strength any business today can have. We manage quality, we manage sales, delivery costs, but how are you at managing change? Hi, Brian McCordy here from Black Belt Lean Thinking, author of The X Factor Business. And everything has a shelf life. Everything is either green and growing or dry and dying. Change. Everything is changing all around us. If we can't detect the change, it doesn't mean it's happening. It's just we're not able to see it. We're not able to detect it. We manage so many things in our business. Again, we manage sales, we manage safety, we manage marketing, we manage delivery and costs. How well does your company manage change? Do you view change management as something that is a focus of attention? Again, the ability to focus all the assets of the company on something changes the organization from a light bulb to a laser. We're focusing on one vision or something that we can drive and drive improvement. That ability to change is so important today. Let's look at some examples of green and growing versus dry and dying. If we look at Kodak, Kodak was founded back in 1880. And in 1975, I believe, they actually built one of the first digital cameras. The very thing that led to their eroding away a lot of their profitability was something that they knew about and actually, like I said, had built one in 1975. I believe by 1976, Kodak had 90% of the film market and 85% of the camera market. So they were a thriving business. By 1996, according to The Economist magazine, their revenue was $16 billion. But they weren't able to embrace and keep up with that change of switching from film to digital and lost a lot of money, a lot of revenue. Okay, let's look at a business that is green and growing. A great example of that would be the Sony Walkman. In 1979, the first cassette Sony Walkman was sold for $150. It quickly took off and was, the present that, everyone wanted for Christmas and for birthdays. And it thrived for a while. If you're familiar with the maturity curve, their product or service is developed, it slowly takes off, and it has strong sales for a while and slowly goes away due to technology or for whatever reason. Well, when technology of CDs started to replace cassettes, what they did was they switched the Walkman from cassette to CD and continue that along that maturity curve, continue to have steady sales. Then they transitioned again from CD to digital music. That product of the Sony Walkman, again, first went on sale around 1979. You can get on Amazon and order one today that has digital music and also has a screen for video. So they've adopted to change. They've embraced it. Rather than being dry and dying, they stayed up with technology and continued to be green and growing. They made change an asset by, again, keeping up with the times, basically, changing as new technology was available. Amazing. Okay, so step one in driving change. The first thing we need to be able to do for managing change is to be able to recognize change. Can you tell when change is coming on the horizon? When there's something happening that can have a big impact on your business? Can you see those burning platform issues? Or are you going to be in a response mode because you didn't see it coming? I mentioned in the X Factor business book that all businesses are part of a symbiotic relationship that is threefold. We are our customers, suppliers, and employees. Our customers are who we serve. Our suppliers are our business partners, and our employees are our family or our team. Now, if you're looking at social media or the boom of communication, we realize that people like to talk. We love to share information. Again, Facebook, Twitter, look at all the different means for sharing information, LinkedIn. People like talking about things they care about. When looking for change, the beauty of this is if you're taking care of that symbiotic relationship, You, management, does not have to look for change. They will do it for you. We love to communicate. Again, if you're taking care of your customers, your suppliers, and your employees, when they see changes that are going to impact the business they're involved with, they're going to speak up. They'll raise their hand going, hey, I read about this new technology, or I saw one of our competitors is doing this. That is the sign of a healthy relationship. Again, that's fostering that laser beam versus a light bulb just scattering energy. We need to take care of everyone in the organization and let them be watching, as a team, all of us watching for change together. Some other aspects of any good business model is embracing lean thinking. So again, you're looking at those 7 forms of waste. We want a business model that is self-monitoring, self-regulating, and self-correcting. That's what lean tools do. Every lean tool is designed to surface problems in regard to whatever its topic is. Again, 5S plus 1 surfaces problems in the work environment. Total productive maintenance surfaces problems in equipment. Quick changeover surfaces problems with changeover. Every lean tool is designed to surface problems, make whatever that topic is, self-monitoring, self-regulating. So again, we can address it. We've got to be able to see the change before we can address that change. Another thing is being able to empower employees with lean tools and Kaizen. So that again, when they see something, they can work towards it. Regular brainstorming sessions as part of team meetings is also a great way to flesh out change. Where we're looking at the 4Ms, we're actively asking people to look for any changes that are happening with material, machinery, methods, men or employees, training, things along that line. And another M to throw in there is management. How open is management to listening to what employees, customers, and suppliers are seeing? Again, we want open door policies. We want to foster good communication. Again, that communication is like the blood in our veins. It's got to be flowing. We've got to be proactive and encourage people to come up with or to share information. There's one final thing I'd like to mention before I move on to dealing with, say, the resistance to change and actually implementing the change. So again, we're still talking about being able to recognize change. There are 3 qualities we really want to infuse into everything we do with our business. And those 3 qualities are simplicity, directness, and engagement. And they're so important. Simplicity, when there's simplicity, we can move forward with confidence. The opposite of simplicity is complexity, and that tends to lead to self-sabotage. We start second guessing. When something is too complicated, we tend to avoid it. We put it off, we procrastinate. But if it's simple and we know what we're doing and what needs to happen, we can move forward with confidence. Often with large business, we get slowly into complexity, and this turns into camouflage that enables businesses and people within businesses to make bad decisions that are self-serving. Again, if we look what happened with the housing bubble bursting back in 2008, again, those were self-serving decisions made at high levels. If there were transparency, everyone would have seen what was going on and would have never gotten to the size that it did. We see the same thing happening recently with Wells Fargo, where again, top management really knew what they were doing. They were overinflating the worth of the company in the eyes of the public to up share value, stockholder value, and it was all deception. Again, if there were transparency and everyone could see what was going on, that never would have happened. Transparency is always desirable for the full health of any organization, especially if you're going to take care of that symbiotic relationship of employees, customers, suppliers. The only reason to keep complexity is for camouflage, which we see again in bad decision making that's self-serving in government and large business. Okay, let's go to directness. We all love direct paths. We hate red tape. We hate bureaucracy. We hate having to go through closed doors and person after person after person to get the information or the guidance that we need. So we want to work in our business on eliminating as much complexity as possible, keeping it simple, but eliminating extra steps. We want to encourage communication, open door policies, and encourage flow. Again, flow upstream from the customer with information and downstream with products and services. So we want that directness. That last part, engagement, Again, back to that symbiotic relationship of employees, customers, and suppliers, we want all of them engaged. We want to foster a good relationship. When you're coming up with decisions and a vision that impact employees, a litmus test for that decision is how well do the employees receive it. Now, if those decisions are to lay people off or do something that harms them so that upper management can keep their bonuses, don't expect them to be engaged. Expect them to disengage. Again, engagement is a litmus test. It lets you know how good those decisions are. Does it benefit the entire organization? Okay, everything I've talked about up to this point has been to recognize change. We want to be able to see change coming. Our best assets for being able to do that is that symbiotic relationship, taking care of employees, customers, and suppliers so that, again, everyone is looking for that change. And then using lean tools, Kaizen, making the business self-regulating, self-monitoring, so that, again, we can see change quickly and work towards making it work to our better. We can stay green and growing and not go dry and dying. Okay, let's address the resistance to change. We've recognized change. We know that there's something coming that we need to respond to, or we see opportunity, but there is a resistance to change that we all seem to have. We just get comfortable with habits. We are creatures of habit. We run our life as routines, and anything that disrupts that routine, we usually view somewhat negatively. If there's going to be change, we've got to see the benefits of it. There's something called a pressure cooker, and this often drives change, but that change usually doesn't stick. The pressure cooker goes like this. We see, pressure building in an area that is uncomfortable. I'm starting to gain weight. I know I need to lose it. My blood pressure is starting to go up. Yeah, I should watch that. I don't like my job, but I don't hate it. There's problems, but you know what? It hasn't reached that uncomfortable level yet to make us actually take action. So we still see the action as something that is more painful than the staying with the status quo, to just, hanging in there. But as that pressure builds, it gets to a point where, you know what? I got to do something. Oprah Winfrey tells a story of she was at one of Mike Tyson's fights, and when they announced Mike Tyson as the champion in the fight, and they say his weight, it was the same weight that Oprah Winfrey was at that point in time. Well, that was her pressure cooker. She made a strong decision that she had to lose weight at that point. So that pressure cooker, getting to that point with your employees, it might be getting them to actually see that burning platform issue or what's going on. But what we have to be careful of with a pressure cooker is once we take that step and make that change, what typically happens when people lose weight or make a change based on the pressure cooker is the cycle starts over again. They lose the weight, which Oprah did in that case, and then she slowly with time gained it right back. We need change to be permanent, so we need to be real clear in our vision and benefits that are sustainable. There's actually an equation for driving change, and it's important to recognize this equation and to make it work on your behalf. That equation is H times V times F has to be greater than R. H is the hatred of a current condition. V is the vision of the ideal state, what is better down the road that we want to get to. F represents the first step that we need the courage to take to break that resistance. And R, the H, V, and F have to be greater than R, the resistance. So, in other words, we've got to recognize and create a hatred for the current condition. Again, like that pressure cooker, we've got to be able to show employees when it comes to our business why being here, that desired state, is much better than where we're at right now. And like with Kodak with film, it might be the thing where, we're going digital, or like with the Sony Walkman, and we've got to make this change or we're going to die. It's a burning platform issue. We either adapt or suffer the consequences of not adapting. So we need to move forward. Everyone needs to see that. So we've got to develop a hatred for this current condition. A lot of times the way to do that, again, is to see the benefits of that future state. This is bad. That over there is so much better. We want to go over there. We know change is coming. Again, everything green and growing, dry and dying. So let's adapt to the change Here's what we're going to. You'll increase people's comfort levels significantly the more they understand that vision, that future state, and all the benefits that go with it. Again, we do resist change, especially if it's pushed on us. I don't know about you, but when someone pushes me, I tend to push back. But if they show the benefits towards something and take the time to explain it to me so that I can get on board with it, then I can engage and I can get back behind it and actually support it. Okay, once we have that hatred of the current condition and we understand that future state, then we can start bridging that gap. We can take those first steps. Again, a plane requires a lot more thrust to get off the runway than to maintain level flight. A rocket will burn the largest percentage of its fuel getting off that launch pad. We need to put massive effort into taking those first steps. So we need to support employees and maybe even help them navigate change. A lot of times we'll go through the stages of grief almost, that hatred or that denying it and getting angry and then slowly accepting it and embracing it. Good leaders have to help employees to navigate that. Don't get upset when they get upset. Again, be a mentor, be a counselor, help them to see what you're heading towards and why you can't stay here. Because again, we're trying to break that resistance. When the hatred of the current state is developed, the beauty and the benefits of the ideal state is there, people can take those first steps because they've broken that resistance to that change. So again, we got to recognize that equation and make it work for us. Then as gentle coaches and mentors, help our employees navigate the psychological changes so that they can break those habits of how we are doing things and move towards something better. I'll give you a case study of that with personal experience. I worked for a factory where our safety records were really bad and had been bad for about 40 years. So this is 40 years of bad safety habits. And corporate told us we had to improve safety. And we used all the things that I told you about in this video. We embraced Lean, embraced Kaizen. We really brought everyone together in the factory, about 500 people, and told them about our safety concerns, and that we wanted to create a safety culture, put safety first, and we didn't know how to do it. We need your help. So we basically turned safety over to them. That first year, this is in 2009, they used the 7 forms of waste, they used Kaizen. We supported them. The employees came up with over 500 safety projects on their own. Of those 500, 95% of them were completed by the year's end. We reduced accidents, social recordable accidents, by 50%, lost time accidents by 75%, and the neat thing is we continue to do it on to the next year and the next year. We continue to do about 500 to 600 safety Kaizens every year. And the ideas that came up were amazing. So we were able to drive incredible change, and it really wasn't that difficult, was the amazing thing. Here, 40 years of failure, but just by embracing these simple things that I put in this video, of embracing simplicity, directness, and engagement, engaging the workforce, using the lean tools, taking care of our team and family, which was our employers, our employees, we were able to drive significant change. So hopefully this video will get you thinking. Again, do you manage change? We manage sales, we manage safety, we manage quality, delivery. We need to see change as something that must be managed as well. We've got to be able to recognize it. We've got to be able to implement it. We need to cultivate it as a strength in our business. So, hopefully this gave you some good ideas for Kaizen and for initiating change within your business. So for more information along this line, pick up my book, The X Factor Business. Talk a lot about change in it, or you can go to my website, Black Belt Lean Thinking. Please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll keep more of these videos coming.